wants to watch this sort of series to a game called MMORPG Tycoon. Essentially, I'm going to try and build an MMO from scratch. I don't want it to just be a map or a concept, but I want it to be a full world made of zones, enemies, dungeons. I want the quest lines to fit all together logically, and in this series I'm going to document that process as best as I can. Decisions, trade-offs, designs. You're going to hear me waffle on quite a lot throughout this series. There's no real reason why I'm doing it other than I quite like watching this stuff myself, so I'm going to give it a go. So to start off a game like this, we're going to start a new game. So I have done quite a lot of planning for the first sort of few zones of this game. Essentially what I want to do is I want to start with 3 different starter zones, so that'll be 3 different places that the AI tunes, so that'll be the playable characters, will start. And the reason why I'm trying to do that is because I want my game to essentially revolve around 3 elder gods, and we'll get into the lore and the story arcs of all that in the future. And this should tie in well because I've been asking a few questions in the game's Discord server recently, and they're going to be releasing an update called the Factions update, where you can set up different factions. It should enable sort of world PvP between 3. I'm hoping that you can toggle that on and off in certain regions. But the game I kind of want to make is every character in each faction will obviously think their faction is the best, but then as they progress through the story of the game, they start to realise how realistically all 3 of these factions are sort of destroying the world in its own sense, and its own deities is part of that. So the name that I'm sort of going with this is Shattered Accord. I feel like this is nice and simple, probably not the coolest. So now we select what type of MMO type it is, and this theoretically is meant to intrigue a certain type of person. So if I was to do player versus player, you can see here what you start with, base appeal, etc, etc. You've got free to play. None of this really matters too much because I am going to be doing this on sandbox mode, so money is not an issue. If you're watching this to figure out how to play the game and make a lot of money, this isn't the playthrough for you to watch. This is just going to be me relaxing, chilling out. I'm going to be doing everything that I can to the best of my ability to make something that's visually pleasing and also pretty cool and tickles that part of my brain. So I'm going to go free to play just because I think the best MMOs are free to play. I hate stuff being locked behind subscriptions. I play a few MMOs myself. 2 of them have subscriptions, funnily enough, so RuneScape and Final Fantasy XIV, but nonetheless I want this game to be enjoyed by everyone, even if you're poor. So next, we get 4 unallocated points. To be honest, not really too sure what this is going to do eventually in the game. Again, this is a core mechanic I think designed for if you're playing the game seriously in the sense of a tycoon. I'm going to be playing this more of a sandbox and sort of a creative journey. I like the idea of killers, so there's 4 different types of person or toon that will be in your game. You have explorers, socializers, achievers and killers. I won't dwell too much on what each of them are because you can look you can pause the video and essentially read it yourself. So I'm just going to do this. Not really too fussed on explorers. Primary need being scenery. There's going to be a lot of it. Okay, so this is completely new. quite like that actually. 58 there. Okay, cool. Oh, I did not know this is... Oh my god, I did not know there's a logo with this. That's pretty sick actually. Yeah, I'm happy with it being that. Game settings, custom rules. I kind of would like to unlock all of this from the start, so I don't have to do development things. Again, I want to use this as a sandbox mode. I will allow bugs, events, griefers and cheaters, because that's all part of a MMO, but I will disable money. I think that is pretty cool. So obviously I'll have to develop anyway to add more player classes, monster classes and NPC types. So let's create this. Okay, so the map would have moved a slight bit before I last checked in. I've decided I've sort of scoured around the map, and the idea that I have is that the first zone will be encompassed inland. There's no real good zone for me to do that, and I would quite like to use as much space as possible. So what I potentially could do is create an inland zone myself by potentially building a mountain across this coastal part here, which would then become impassable terrain anyway. So first what we need to do is go to the grid, and then we have to raise a region. This region's already raised. So then what we do is we activate said region. Now the region is activated, you can see it's telling me to set up the place. But what I need to do first is change the terrain. So I'm going to flatten all of this out. You can see on the top of these mountains these little hatch markings, and that means it's impassable terrain. So I already have an idea of what I want the first zone to be. I don't really know why it's doing that, so we'll just do that. We'll move that away. So now I wonder if there's a way I can make a mountain pass here which connects in. It looks like I can, so that is quite good news. So now what I want to do is get rid of all of that terrain. I don't want any terrain in this area. Okay, first thing first is to name the region. So this region is called Ironbound March. The reason why this is called Ironbound March is pretty simple. The main influence is the Radiant Concord, that is the faction that the players will be adhering to, and that is going to be influenced heavily by one of the 3 elder gods known as Aetherix. So Aetherix is the shaper of form. He's all about creation, order, matter and time. He's very cold, calculating and a bit of a perfectionist. His main sort of thematic is stability at any cost. As we go through these first 3 regions for Aetherix's influence, we'll see how the world sort of changes from a physical, natural world into a more of a regimented, what is foreseen as perfect. And the reason why it's there is to cause stability. A bit of sort of background of Aetherix is he forged the physical world, laws of nature and mortal races, believes chaos will inevitably destroy existence, and he wants a static, perfectly ordered universe. Once we finish all of the 3 starter zones for each faction, we will then go into how this truly affects, and I'll give you more of a story-driven arc of what is what. So essentially what I'm going to go and do now is I'm going to go and do a little bit of designing. So there's different districts we can make here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start circling some land, naming it so you know what the districts are going to be, and I'm going to do a little bit of terraforming. Probably going to time lapse this, and then we'll reconvene when it gets to a point of let's say creative stability where you can actually see what I'm trying to achieve here. So we will start that pretty shortly. So as you can see here, I've actually done the district part of this first area. If I move into terrain, you can now see each district of what's going to be what in the Ironbound March. I stupidly forgot to hit the record button for when I made this first part of the zone. So what I will do is run you through what it is, and then I won't forget to hit the record button for when I make the Ironbound Gate section of this zone. So these trees look a bit shit, to be honest, in this area, but I'm going to fluff that up later on, probably near the end of building the zone. I just want the sort of skeletal version of this zone mapped out and the majority of things placed, and then I'll go back to each area and do the sort of finer details after. But mainly for inspiration, I want to finish the sort of core aspect of what this is. So starting off, the players will start in this starting point, in this little neck of the woods, and the reason why I want that is I want the players to come into the game and they instantly feel fine, they're not threatened, everything's friendly. There's a farmhouse here, there will probably be a person here which will direct them to the main town. So this area is Golden Reach Vale. It is the starter area for Zone 1, and they are going to transition through a place called Wheatfall. Don't really need to give you an idea of why it's called Wheatfall. You can see how much crops are actually here, and you can actually see one of these overhanging the fence, so we'll get rid of that. The whole point of this area essentially is to generate sort of standard food, such as the wheat itself. I am thinking about creating maybe something like a sheep or a cow, very similar to RuneScape, and just maybe add in a pen somewhere. which houses farm animals. So, you know, if players want to kill, in quotation, critters, which aren't really meant to hit hard back, they can attack the cows. Maybe some chickens for a chicken coop. I could probably add maybe a chicken coop out the back here, but I'd have to understand how that would work, to be honest. But we're not on about populating yet. What we're doing is the simple design of the zone. So they walk through Wheatfall, and then I want them to come to this crossroad, and I want them to see essentially Golden Reach proper, which is the main sort of starting hub, and I want them to look over to the right and see Ironbound Gate. The reason for this is I want them to look left and gain a sense of friendliness and warmth, and I want them to look right and instantly think hostility, which will then force them to walk this way. Then when you enter Golden Reach proper, you will get 2 small inns where they can set their houses for free. They will not have to pay. I'm going to make this into a little garden plaza with some benches, probably a few guides in here for people to talk to. Then they head over here to the left, and you'll have a blacksmith shop, which will cost them 100 gold. This does sound like a lot, but even though it does sound like a lot of money, you'll quickly see with my level design, when I get into the episode where we design some things, why it is 100 gold. Essentially, they'll be killing a lot of mobs because they need a lot of XP to level up. I want the place to be populated for a long time. Players probably will get bored of the game and not progress, but I don't care. I'm used to grinds from playing games like RuneScape. You've then got a potion shop. Same price, 100. Potions in this game essentially allows the toons to self-heal. I want to try and enable party gameplay as early as possible, but for quests, for example, where they want to go and solo kill something, like an elite, maybe, they'll definitely need potions, especially the DPS classes which are squishy but not, squishy but nothing else. Then you have the market stall where they can sell all of their loot, a few little tents. I'll populate some people in there. It's just some modular buildings really to make the place look like a bit of a town. A well for water. We also have here a tavern at the moment in the game. I don't really know what players do with this, but for some reason it says organise a party. Maybe you can't select anything else. Maybe they go in there to socialise. And when the game updates more, and by game I mean MMORPG Tycoon 2, we'll actually be able to utilise that for something. So there's that. Then if you go into the north part and you sort of follow this little road around, you eventually get to a respawn point. Then as we sort of go away from the respawn point, there's a lovely little river here which I have not named, but essentially to generate this river you use the district tool and you make a lake district. I have put it so they cannot cross this river, which then should force players to always prioritize this path and the bridge to get over to the other side. This is just a little friendly crossing. There is going to be scope at some point to add some mobs and monsters down this side. They cross this little bridge, which actually seems quite dangerous because there's no handrails, but anyway, they cross this bridge over to a place called Stonebrook. How does Stonebrook work into all of this? So you've got your production and your farm area of Wheatfall, you've got your main hub, and then you've got a small little village of Stonebrook which has houses for water wheels and stuff like that. Can collect water, they can store different materials. There's another tiny little marketplace through there, and it's just another little place to live really. So that is where we are with the design for Golden Reach Vale. the next part is going to be Ironbound Gate. So I will now cut, hopefully, if I can actually edit a video, I've never done it before, to me making Ironbound Gate, and then I'm going to hopefully do it as a time lapse, and then I'll slow down the video of the time lapse to any time that maybe I speak about anything, or anything like that. I'll slow it down so you can hear me make a decision on something, or give an idea of why I've went with that creative design. walkthrough of what it is I've created here. So on the left side as you come in, you've got a camp with some stables, a few things different cluttered around. To the right is a old school sort of ruins vibe where they've turned it into a bathing area. We have some abandoned buildings which some people seek refuge in, as well as their main respawn point. There's a blacksmith with a potion shop here. Their little mess hall, let's say. There's a tavern, little marketplace where they get their rations and their produce. Their barracks is over to the left, and then to the right over here is a load of siege equipment they're using to defend from the Ironbound March. So as you can see, there's a whole lot more I need to do within this zone. I won't be able to complete it within this episode because I believe it's already probably close to 50 minutes, and all I've actually done is design one section of the zone in a time lapse. I haven't even I didn't even design the Golden Reach Vale in this, but it is what it is. We ran through it. It's also quite a slow start up to the zone, so it is what it is. Hopefully in the next episode I'm looking to complete the remaining areas of the zone in terms of a design concept. So fingers crossed, I will catch you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on and create something I'm actually quite proud of at the moment. So thank you to anyone that's made it this far, and I will see you soon.